All right, it's Wednesday again.
I like how we never actually record these on Wednesday, by the way.
Oh yeah, like today's like Friday, but for you it's Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So
it's the time travel of video editing.
Yeah, I guess you could call it that.
So when we were talking about time travel the other day, it is possible.
But it's not.
But it is though.
No,
but it's not. In reality, okay, that could be a much more interesting conversation. Actually,
we should do one of those.
That could be another weekly word on Wednesday. That could be a full episode.
That could be a full episode.
Let's be honest. But what are we actually doing today?
Unfortunately, we're not talking about physics and time travel. We're making a tier list because those are always fun to do.
It's true. So we had the idea of a tier list, and then we had to come up with what the actual tier list would be. And this is a show that focuses primarily on faith and theology. So we were like, well, we're not going to just rank Bible verses because that would be weird and
just a little
almost sacrilegious in a way. So what we decided to do instead, I think, is a way better idea and has actual message behind it.
We've come up with this criteria of how we're going to rank these Bible verses.
Go ahead and tell us the criteria.
We're going to rank these by how overused they are, by how cliche they are.
May I also add in that another factor that at least I will be considering in my decisions of where I think they should go is out of context. There are no verses in the Bible, okay, people? You know the verses and chapters were added in 500 years ago, and for many years there was no verses. So verses are helpful, but the thing is that when you just take one verse out of context, it often means something different than you think. So that's another criteria we'll be considering, but mainly, of course, these are some of the most overused big verses. We didn't include John 3:16 on here, actually. We're not going for like the most overused. These are kind of some more obscure slightly than John 3:16 level.
These are kind of like the ones you'd find on like a Facebook mom's stream, you know, those ones.
Or etched into a pillow.
Yeah, we even got the little like inspirational pictures on them and everything.
They were the first ones I found in Google. So essentially, we have the inspirational pictures of it.
Yeah. So
let's get started here. I'm going to pull up the one that we're doing. We're starting with Matthew 6:33, I believe, is the first one on here.
This one right here.
Yeah, it's that one right there. And that one is... See if I can get it to load. We can't actually see it on that screen. So it's seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added to you.
That's a classic Sabbath school verse.
It is. I totally get Sabbath school vibes from it.
Yeah.
And when it comes to like how often it's used, I'd say it's one that a pastor would use in a sermon pretty often. It also, with the all these things will be added unto you part, you have to read the context. So it also gets those out of context points.
And just to clarify for those who aren't Seventh-day Adventists, our Sabbath school is like your Sunday school.
Yeah.
So
it's the same thing, just different day.
So
it's not that. It's not like the top.
Right.
It might be an A though. It's A or B.
I'm kind of feeling B.
Yeah, because it's not a bad one to use a lot. I mean, it's the words of Christ. But it's Sermon on the Mount, but it's also, you have to know the context in order to really understand what those things will be.
Right.
Because all these things will be added unto you. People kind of just add in whatever they want to get added unto them. So, yeah, we'll go with B tier on that one.
And we can always go back and change that later. But
sure.
For now, B.
Now we're moving on to the next one. Now let's look at Hebrews 11:1.
Which, just to clarify, is this blue one, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yes. Okay. See, we're blind here. So Hebrews 11:1 says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen." So this is from the faith chapter of Hebrews, right?
That one I haven't heard nearly as much.
I actually really like this verse. Now, when we talk about like out of context used a lot, that type of thing, kind of the verses, a good way to put it would be verses that are just thrown around haphazardly.
Yeah.
So this verse is talking about faith, right? It talks about evidence. It also says the things unseen. People often use this verse to like say, oh, you have blind faith as a Christian, or you don't actually know that God exists and you're just kind of believing in something you can't see. I think it kind of means the opposite. So I really like this verse, but it is... So I think based off what you said, like you mentioned, you don't hear it nearly as much.
Right.
It's probably like a C.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
I'm feeling C, yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling C on that one.
Because this one up here is way more.
Oh, yeah.
Used way more.
You hear it way more. That's right. So now let's look here. So this one would be Romans 8:28. And it says, quote, "And we know that all things God works for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose." So... This is the Jeremiah 29:11, but for us. In fact, I didn't even include Jeremiah 29:11 on there. Just to add in, though, Jeremiah 29:11 would be the top tier.
Oh, yeah. That and John 3:16.
Yes, for two very different reasons, right?
Yeah.
Because John 3:16, I actually like how much it's used. I think the thing about John 3:16 is that when we say it, we should really think about what it's saying.
Right.
So it's a good one to use, but so those are the two though. Mm-hmm. So those would be in the top tier. This one, I really like this one. This is a good verse. Not to say that there's any bad verses in the Bible, by the way. Right. But to read it once again. And we know that all things God works together for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. What do you think?
I would say, I think this one's B too. Because you don't hear this, again, this isn't nearly as common as John 3:16, but it's not C tier.
So my thing with this one is, this is one of those verses that would be used in the context of you can kind of make it mean whatever you want it to mean.
True.
Because the wording is vague enough that you can be like, oh, everything I want I'm going to get because of this verse. So, yeah, I'm feeling a B or a C. B or an A, actually.
High B? How about high B?
Yeah, sure, high B.
Let's do that. Boom.
Okay, now to the next verse. See if I can get it pulled up here. Yep, okay. This is probably the one that'll go highest up on the list.
Oh, yeah.
It is Philippians, and it says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Yep. That's it. Just. Yep. No, that verse is one of the most out of context, overused, make it do whatever you want it to do verse.
Yep. You see this on T-shirts, mugs, hats. It's everywhere.
Not to shade mugs. No, but it's so true, because with this verse, you have to read the context. And if people actually knew the context of this verse, they would use it less. Because this comes from Philippians, which is commonly referred to as the happiest book in the Bible, right? Philippians is also written from prison. And Paul, when he wrote this, was just finished saying, I've known what it is to have much, and I've known what it is to have nothing. So people will use this to say, like, I'm going to get everything I want. I'm going to succeed in everything. Paul was in prison when he wrote it. So, yeah, definitely top tier for that one, for sure. 100%. And then we have one more verse. This one is Ephesians 2:8-9. And it says, for by grace you've been saved through faith, not of works, lest no man should boast. And then it continues on to talk about how you were made for great things, basically.
I feel like, in my opinion, that's definitely A. You heard a lot in Bible class.
So this verse, it depends on which part, because when it says 2:8-9, I think it continues into 10 a little bit with the out of context idea. And this is actually in my Twitter bio, literally, like the 2:8-9, the for by grace you've been saved part. So yes, that one's used quite often. But the second half where it says that we've been called to do good works from the beginning, more or less, I'm paraphrasing. That part is the part that people overuse and kind of do out of context. So yeah, I'm feeling an A or a higher than that, maybe.
You feel like it's low?
No, probably A.
Yeah, let's keep it an A. Yeah. And I believe that is the list.
That's it. And of course, we can throw in there, I'll throw it in editing, throw in Jeremiah 29:11 and John 3:16 at the very top right there.
Right here.
Yep. So next time you say Jeremiah 29:11, think of the context. Think of the context. It was Israel in exile. And if you really want a verse about that, read Romans 8:28. But yeah, I mean, no Bible verse is inherently bad, right? So all good verses. Yep. Anything else? Any other thoughts on this topic?
Hey, if you haven't yet, read your Bible today.
Yes. Cool. All right. That'll be it for today.
Yeah.
God bless.
Peace. That's it. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Faith Talk.
Check us out on all of our socials. That'll be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and all the above. We also are on YouTube.
And subscribe to all our channels, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, things like that.
And be sure to check out our merch store. It not only supports us, but it helps us bring you higher quality content.
Yeah, and remember, we got a weekly word on Wednesday every week on Get This Wednesday.
And episodes come out first of the month.
Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully we'll catch you on the next one.
God bless.